Hello, hello, folks. You are tuned in live to Bloop Radio London here with me, Redfreya, the first of the Urban Soundscape show of our brand new season after our summer break. Here today in the studio with a really exciting guest who's joining me straight from LA, Mojova. So shortly we'll be getting into an interview with her and obviously, as usual, a guest mix. Get locked for the next hour, guys. As I said, I am here today live from our Holborn studio with my guest today, Mojova. Welcome, welcome.
Hi, thank you.
Thank you for being here. I'm so excited that you're here today, actually.
Likewise, it's crazy to see the studio in person for the first time.
You've seen it online, right? Like you've seen it from Instagram and
exactly.
And everything.
Yep.
And guys, like listening into the show, welcome back. First thing I'll say, because we've had a bit of a break over the summer with the Urban Soundscape show. It's been every week for the past year, and then I decided needed to take a little respite over the summer. So really happy to be kicking off the brand new season with you here as my guest, because you have been such an inspiration on my journey as like getting into being a DJ as a professional.
Thank you.
So it really means a lot. And today is the first time we met today. I'm joined by Kim, otherwise known as Mojova. I came across your work in probably, I would say, like 2015, 2016 kind of time. And you were obviously based out in LA, right?
Yes.
At the time.
Yep.
And you were DJing a lot then, and you were one of the first people that I saw and that I interacted with and spoke to who was like a female artist, kind of trailblazing the way, because
thank you.
The industry's changed a bit now.
Yeah,
it's like a bit more equal now, which is wonderful. And
exactly,
that's great. But like back then, it was like way less.
Right? It was really rare. Like seeing Maya Jane Coles, I think that was the first time I had ever seen a woman play. Yeah, like a house or techno set.
She's amazing. Anyway,
she is.
She's an icon.
Yeah, so seeing her, it was around the same time, 2015, 2016. And then I think since then, it's been so much better for women visibility.
Yeah. And I remember seeing something I loved as well. Like, it wasn't just that you were like doing your own solo thing, but I saw you with like, were you part of like a collective in LA?
Yeah.
And there were like other women in the collective.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is so empowering. And I was here in London, like, let me find this here. Like, wasn't a thing.
That's so great. Yeah. Because it's important to, it's like now you're kind of leading that effort. here in London.
Yeah, I'm trying my best to, but I guess, you know, as I said, like, I've been really inspired by you to, like, get into this as a career in first place, because, like, when I started, I was like, this girl's doing it, I can do it too. But I've also been quite inspired by seeing you be so pro, like, women, and I know you did some work with female pressure as well, and obviously you have your radio show on data transmission. But, like, yeah, before we get into all these details, like, let's just tell the listeners of the show, if you want to, like, if I hand over the mic to you, do you want to just give people a little introduction on sort of who you are as an artist, how do you describe your sound,
sure,
etc.
I like kind of fell into DJing the same way as you, where I was just it just became my life. Like, I love the community, I love the music so much, and then starting to see women do it, that's when I was like, you know what, I could do this too. And then, like you, I also have the classically trained background, so it was just so much fun. I love doing it. And then the more I did it, the more I started meeting like-minded people who have become my family. And not just in LA, around, people like you from around the world. It's just been, like, incredible.
And it's amazing how it can, like, music can really connect you with people and kind of bring, as you said, like-minded people and sort of people who have similar shared values and interests and stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, how did you, like, what were your first steps into DJing electronic music? I mean, I guess you were going to raves beforehand, or is that right? Like, you went to some parties?
Yeah.
And also, were those in the US, or was that in Europe, or?
They were pretty much all in LA. And, you know, being new to the scene, I grew up in the Boston area. At the time, there wasn't a rave scene, and I didn't even know what a rave was or that music existed. I grew up on punk and hardcore metal, Deftones, Tool. And then it wasn't until my early 30s that I stumbled upon, I was like, what is this music? House and techno. So I started going to local raves, and then...
In Boston, or where was this?
Sorry, in LA.
Yeah, in LA.
That's where I was living.
Yeah, so you've moved across coast, like coast to coast, yeah.
And then I became, and still am, Sasha and Digweed's. I'm, like, their super fan. So I started coming to London on an annual basis to see them play together, and then I started meeting people over here in this scene. London is so special. It's just so much good music comes out of here.
It's a real melting pot here. I think that's what really gives it its edge, that, like, there's that underground culture here, and there's so many different genres of music, and you've also got things like UK garage, or like drum and bass, or jungle, hardcore, all these, like, other genres, as well as house and techno, which is just creating so much diversity in the scene all the time. It doesn't become insular. Which is really interesting. So then you got into DJing, you sort of picked up the ropes, and then you started to play more gigs. What have been some special gigs for you, like, along the way? Anything that's, like, comes to mind of, like, a special one?
Oh, I would say the first one I did in Berlin, it was at Suicide Circus.
Nice.
And it's just so cool to see, you know, it's like the same music, but different city. It was, like, such great energy. And what's special about Europe, what we don't have, is that you know, our bars close at 2.
Oh, really?
You guys can just keep going, and Berlin doesn't stop. Like, the whole
it doesn't even start until 2 a.m. Like, it's like that's the night is kicking off. Then
exactly. And there was one thing I forgot to mention before, was when I was starting DJing, I watched a couple YouTube videos, and I got a Newmark. I forgot what it's called.
Is that Tractor, or is that, like,
no? It was Serato.
Newmark, like a controller sort of.
It's a controller. Yeah, and I was like, okay, cool. And then I was working in the financial industry at the time for my day job, and so I went out and bought CDJs, and I was like, all right, I had enough confidence to start putting myself out there more and asking for gigs. I made little business cards for myself.
I love that. I have business cards. I hand out my business cards. Like, you know, it's important. Branding is important. Like,
it is.
I mean, you have to, like, put music out there so that hopefully people find you, but also, like, if you don't knock on the doors, like, it's like sitting at home and being like, I want some gig to find me. But
especially as a woman, I think
Yeah, you have to put yourself out there for sure. And I think that's something that a lot of artists actually struggle with, because there's this thing of, like either self-doubt holds
imposter
people back.
syndrome.
Yeah, like should I really? Or as a female, I think it can be hard sometimes to also navigate being assertive.
Yes.
It's something I've had to learn being a total freelancer with the music. I think I also had a background in business before, and I think that's actually been a bit helpful, because you sort of know how to be.
You have to market yourself
assertive
and be good at work at the same time.
But it's important to be assertive and to know kind of what your worth is and what your value is and what you are bringing and those sort of things. And I think as women, we're sort of in society, it's like women are less assertive than men in general, I think.
For sure. Yeah. We're less likely to negotiate, assert our value. Like I've heard that women don't apply for jobs unless they meet all the bullet points.
Absolutely. Yeah, I've heard this statistic in psychology so many times. Like men will apply if they meet like 3 out of 10. They're like, I've got it. And women were like, they want to meet like 9 out of 10 of the bullet points. And I think it's a little bit of like an education piece of just knowing that that's sort of a bias that already exists, and then challenging yourself to overcome it.
Exactly. And like we were talking about before, when we went out to coffee, another thing, I guess this goes for anything in any career, not just music, is that don't be afraid to make mistakes. I think the best advice I ever received for producing was just dive in and like write everything. Like you don't have to write the beginning, the middle, and the end. Just like pour your heart out, make the track, and then you can separate it into intro and bridge, outro.
Just get the ideas down. Like,
exactly.
And actually also just do it. Like just do something, like anything, because like 1 centimeter of progress is still really good. And if you do 1 centimeter of progress every day for like 3 weeks or 3 months, you're just better. You're gonna be so much better.
Right.
And I think it's so easy to get in your head, especially with production, but also just with anything, to say, well, if I don't see like visible progress, I'm not gonna spend the time doing it.
Right.
But with things like music production, it is a really slow thing to build the skills there, I think. And I think it's interesting that there's less women producers. I mean, we've obviously started talking about like the whole like gender divide in music, and I said like you've been such an inspiring female to me, and we're both women in the dance music industry, and it's interesting that piece with production of wondering, there's more female DJs now for sure, but there's still a real big gap of female producers.
Yes.
And I feel like I wish I could be a trailblazer and be like, I really want to bring more women into the production space, but I'm going to put my hands
You're already doing it.
And say that like it's really difficult. Like I'm working on it super hard, but it's like I want to be so honest about how like it's taking a really long time. I sat on Ableton over a year ago, and I'm not like ready to release music yet. Like it takes time.
But the fact that you're doing it, I've heard from friends, it takes years to kind of find your sound.
Yeah.
I mean, this is you're following the normal progression, like timeline.
Yeah.
Progression.
I think the music industry has a bit of a thing where it feels like everything has to be done instantly as well.
Yeah.
I don't know if you experienced that yourself as well, of just like everything's now. And I think social media makes that more intense.
Yeah.
For sure.
But the fact that it's the same thing, like you inspire me so much. And especially now, the fact that you're not afraid to say, here's where I'm at with producing. I'm not perfect, but I'm making progress. Like that inspires me. And you don't know who's watching. There could be somebody else out there that's like, you know what, maybe I should. It gives them the confidence to give it a shot.
Yeah, I think there's something super nice. I mean, like I always really cared a lot about things like, I guess it's sort of authenticity. It's like saying, this is where I am. Like kind of like come as you are, like be as you are. Don't have to feel like you have to put a bravado on all the time. And in something like the music industry, the electronic music industry, obviously it's a performance-based industry. So there are facades, like there are artists who are putting on a performance.
Like wearing a mask.
Yeah. So like when an artist is performing, and I guess production is kind of all the same. Like you want to put on a show, you want to look your best. You don't want to show up at the club and be super tired and play a terrible DJ set and be like, guys, I'm coming as I am. Like I'm tired, accept me. But I think there needs to be a bit more of that overall in the industry, because it's a bit unhealthy compared to say like other areas of life and of the world. I feel like mental health has become a bit more welcomed in other places, maybe.
It's true.
And in the music industry, there's still a real, there's a gloss I see of like, let's say, naming no names, but you see like lots of touring artists, they posting on Instagram and they're like jet set, and it's all these posts about how amazing their life is and da-da-da.
And professionally shot videos. I'm like, who are these people that just follow them around all day?
I know. Sometimes you watch it and you're like, yeah, but I know someone took all these videos. And also, like, now I'm DJing at more at that level. It's a thing of they look like they're having a great time, but I know that they spent some time sat alone in an airport for like 4 hours, and they were probably like they were bored, and then your flight was delayed for hours. And I know it's maybe boring content for people to post about that, but I just think maybe on balance, if everybody was a bit more honest about things, then
I think so too.
Yeah. And you get people in the studio being like, here's this amazing EP that I've released, guys, and it's amazing, and I'm amazing. and then it's like when you're trying to learn to produce, you're like, oh, everyone is just amazing at this,
right?
And then it's so I think like the more honest we can be, and honestly, you're a person who always showed me that from the day one.
Aww.
So yeah,
thank you.
It's great. It's cute to have you here today. So obviously we want to get into the music in a minute, but like I wanted to touch very briefly on sort of burnout, because we're already talking a little bit about mental health in general. But like obviously you were hustling so hard because you were DJing, you were playing gigs on the weekends, you were going out sourcing work as well, and working full time in like the financial industry.
It was pretty rough. So yeah, at the time I was working in the financial industry, like long hours, and music was my escape.
Yeah.
And it's like trying to drive 2 trains at once, like trying to be good at my day job and show up, for DJing my community, trying to learn production. And then so around COVID, like the combination of I left my day job and I was like, I don't know what I want to do next. But it's not this.
Yeah.
And then COVID happened, so obviously music, gigs stopped. And then I just took some time. I completely went off social media and focused on myself and healing. And I came out of it so much stronger. Like I feel so good. I'm in treatment for depression, anxiety. I'm in a really good place right now. And so I've just been starting to get back into social media, and having a dog also helps.
Dogs change the world. This is like the dog fan club here. Like I hope all the listeners love dogs. Dogs are great. Yeah. But can I just say I have so much respect for your your honesty about like dealing with like mental health issues. Like I mean, who doesn't deal with some mental health issues in today's day and age anyway? Like
exactly.
we live in a very stressful world. But also just the fact that you got to the point where you were like, I know what it is that I need to do. Like I need to stop social media. I need to quit this job that's not working for me. I really respect that you did that. It's a big thing to know that you need to make big changes in your life and to actually follow through with them.
Thank you.
What was with this quitting social media? Like, is there anything that you could share about like how that experience was for you, for anyone who might be listening, who might feel like maybe they wanted to quit social media for a period of time, 6 months or whatever. Like, how was the experience?
It was amazing. It was
recommend.
Such a great detox. So at the time, like what really kind of pushed me over the edge to quit was, with everything going on with COVID, it was all doom scrolling. I mean, I still kept up with the news and everything, but it made me feel so present in the moment, because I feel like, humans are biologically hardwired to seek dopamine hits, and that's what social media does to you. So I feel like not having that going off all the time. The only thing I did miss was personal, friends' personal achievements and family stuff, like engagements and weddings and babies. So coming back on social media 3 years later, now I have some friends that are like, oh my God, you had a baby. And they're like, yeah, he's 3 now.
I think it's harder as well for like your extended community, like not like your best friends, but
exactly.
it's like the people that you went to school with, or like the people that you just know in the community. Social media kind of keeps us in these really big cultural groups, and you just see a lot of what everybody's doing, which is kind of like a gift and a curse at the same time.
Yeah,
because it's also a bit overwhelming. If like are we supposed to know this much about everybody all the time?
But it's made me. I feel like this time around, I have like a very different. I was so self-conscious about like everything has to be perfect. Like your wording has to be perfect and get the perfect hashtags and post at the perfect time. Like I don't give a shit. Can we say shit?
Yeah, we can say whatever we like here. I think so. Yeah.
Like I don't care.
Yeah, which is so important. It's kind of like, again, that thing of authenticity of like, this is who I am. This is what I am, and you're not getting like an overly fake version.
Yeah, and I'm enjoying myself a lot more. The thing I missed the most was the memes. I'll be honest.
It's hard to find them off Instagram.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah.
There's no other source for that. But
yeah, I
would recommend, I mean, you don't have to do it for 3 years like I did, especially in the music industry. Like if you're not on social media, I mean, unless you're like a bedroom producer, it's pretty much impossible to, because you gotta stay in touch with everybody.
Yeah, I'm a big advocate of social media being used as a positive tool and in a positive way, but I just think that everybody needs to educate themselves as much as they can on how like dangerous it can be for your mental health. And there's so many books out there and resources about this stuff. Like it's just designed to be this is designed
addictive.
To be so addictive,
right?
And it does make you feel bad if you compare yourself to others all the time. So it's like use it mindfully. But,
exactly.
All right, well, we're gonna kick off some music in just a second, but now you're back. So you've taken a break, like you've been working yourself. Now you're back. We're here on the radio show today. But just tell people. So obviously, Sasha and Digweed are like a really big inspo of yours. You had your data transmission radio show before, is that right?
Yeah.
Are you thinking about starting another radio show at some point this year, or like not yet, or yeah?
I was definitely thinking about doing it, especially because it's like a low pressure thing. So lining up some gigs in LA, and I just feel so good reconnecting with the people in my community again. It's truly like our church, you know, like it there's no better feeling than like going around like, oh my God, it's like giving everybody hugs, and it's awesome. But my biggest inspirations, I would say, besides Sasha and Digweed, Robert Hood.
Yeah.
He's just like, it's like a gospel techno. I mean, it's incredible. It's so soulful and beautiful and uplifting. And then Scuba was one of the guys that, because he's not afraid to play whatever he wants to play, produce whatever, it's so diverse.
Have you listened to his Not a Diving podcast?
He has wait, what's it called again?
Not a Diving podcast.
I don't think
I've
Scuba.
Heard that. Oh my gosh. Well, you need to listen to it, and anyone listening to this show, if you enjoy the chats we have here on the Urban Soundscape show, listen to Scuba's Not a Diving podcast. I'm just here giving him free advertising, but it's wonderful. It's really real chats with DJs. He did one with Recondite recently.
Oh, cool.
He's done them with a lot of the big artists. So it's some great real chat. He's a cool artist, DJ, but also like not afraid to sort of tell it how it is.
Yep. Those are the people I respect most on social media. Also Mr. G. He's another London guy.
I love his music.
He's amazing. And have you seen the videos of him playing?
No.
Like oh my gosh, he dances so hard, and so he's amazing.
I'm here for people who have the passion, who like you can see that they're really enjoying it.
Exactly.
In the booth.
Yeah.
I love his music. How can people find you online on this? Drop your Insta handle, like spell it for people so they can find you.
So on Instagram, it's Mojave OFC. So that's MOJAVE OFC. And then SoundCloud is, I think the handle's Mojave Official.
Okay, yeah, and they can probably also just find that if they come to your IG profile.
Exactly. I have like one of those Linktree things.
But please, if you guys enjoy her music today and her vibes and her inspirational being of a person, please go and give her a follow. You're an amazing person. I'm so happy to have you here today.
Likewise.
So yeah, I think let's kick off some music now, guys, and we'll be live till just after 3:00. I think it is UK time. So stay locked. So the idea of this track is The Trip by Slock, and Mojave just told me a really interesting story that this track was actually really special to her because the first time that she heard it was when she was getting into deep house originally, which was back in sort of 2015, 2016 time, which was actually she heard this track for the first time on Bloop Radio, which I think is really special because it means that she's been listening to Bloop for many years, like from the beginning, which is I love that. Like it feels such a full circle moment that she's here today with us. So special. This is a special track. The show is going to be full of really special, meaningful tracks.